Sasquatch, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spear Finger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil Dog, Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, Lizard Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee, Death Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape. What else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet. Snarly Gastro Team, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry, Wolfman, or Wolf County, need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet.
Well, this here's BIGFEETS, the only Mountain Monsters watch-along podcast. I'm Robert Brockway, and in Baldur's Gate 3, I play a level 12 Wood Elf Pissmancer. That won't come up again. I don't know why I mentioned that.
Yeah, unrelated. And I'm Sean Baby. Where'd you get the gun? I demanded. Hurry up, I'm getting cold. I wasn't bluffing. Without my coat, I was freezing. After a couple of beats, I shouted in his face, close enough so that my spittle froze against his cheeks. Hey, asshole, use your brain. You don't hear me reading you your rights or calling for a cop, do you? I'm not the police. I can kill you, and I don't have to answer to anybody. Get it? Found it, he blubbered in an empty lot-off 8. It's not worth nothing. I couldn't even sell the fucking thing. Never mind, I'll take it off your hands, I told him. This gun's too big for you anyway. I gave him a half-hearted kick in the groin. He went down, gave a spasm, then vomited into the street. I picked up my coat, dusted it off, and left my attackers lying on the sidewalk, whimpering inarticulately. They didn't seem to mind how dirty it was down there.
Can you, before anything else happens, can you show me the back of that book? Fuck yes.
It's just him in his nunchuck room.
Yeah, it's Frank Dukes. Are those all nunchucks? They
no,
just...
it's like civilian spy gear you'd get at like a nerd store.
It's like Sharper Image. He's like in a Sharper Image.
Yeah, some of those are meat thermometers. And
wearing a full vinyl trench coat, taking his author photo at the Sharper Image. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I am New York Times bestselling author Jason Pargin.
Somehow that made it funnier. Oh, God damn it. That picture is so good. That needs to be his prom picture. I just Photoshop in a date next to him, looking very weary, like, did you really take me to the Sharper Image to get this done? And being like, yeah, it rules.
I just like the proudness he has. Just like he's bringing the tour through his house, like, welcome to my telescope and double-headed dildo room.
There's a telescope. There's just a telescope in there. I use that to see long distances. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. That's what everybody uses it for. Before we get into it, let's get our plugs done. Jason.
The brand new book that just came out today, actually midnight last night, is called I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom. Now, I know that it appears to have like 10,000 reviews on Goodreads or whatever. Those were all early readers. It's just now out.
That's just press.
A lot of
the
arts.
Robust novel reviewing press.
It works on me every time you do that, by the way. When you say it, every time so far you've said, I have a new book out now, I'm like, oh shit, he does?
I believe everything you say until the second half of every sentence.
Just the amount of trust you've built up in your field. And you're burning it all to the ground for this bit, which I respect. Sean, how about you? What do you want to plug?
I want to plug 1-900hotdog.com. It's our amazing and fantastic comedy website with world-class comedy writers. We update daily. And you can go to patreon.com/1900hotdog and support us. We're the last ones doing it.
And we'll be. There's nobody else that's coming along. Nobody's going to start doing this now.
No,
like, this is it. This is what you got. Join us or burn in hell is actually our tagline. I will plug nothing. I have a new book coming out. I just finished it. I've seen that they have a pre-order link up. This is not a joke. I'm not goofing on Jason. And I'm not going to plug it because I legally don't have to. And I know it will drive Jason fucking crazy. I'm not going to tell you what it's called. I don't think it's even up on my author profile yet, so you can't go there and look for it. Fuck you. And Burn in Hell. Burn in Hell with Michael Jackson and Tupac Shakur. Which
that's actually the pull quote I wrote for your book. So thank you for using that.
Which is exactly what Sean said. It's...
Why would you suggest that those two beloved entertainers are in hell? That came out of
That wasn't
nowhere.
me. That was Sean. That was Sean's pull quote.
It's a long... There's like 2 more paragraphs in the pull quote that explains all of it. Just wait until Broadway's book comes out.
I know there's going to come a point where I'm so sick of where you are right now, Jason, where I'm so sick of promoting the same book that I've gone half insane with it and have no idea what time it is.
This book went up for pre-order in January 2024. I've been promoting it for 15 consecutive months.
Yep. Full madness. So he's in full madness right now. I'm trying to avoid that.
Probably going to get adapted into a movie, and that'll be what, 2 more years of adaptation and development, and another 1 year of promotion. So, you know, you're almost to the 1/3 point, I would say.
It's leaning more toward possible streaming series, so that means you would have it spread out across 10 weeks of,
of each
episode.
And then if it gets another season, that's 2 years later.
Do I have to write another book if they give it another season? Do I have to scramble? Like, oh crap.
No, they just they go to space or whatever. All of those same characters go to space.
I like the sound of that.
Relevant to what we're talking about today, you just make a totally different show with the same title. Just totally, not even the same genre.
That's a good segue. Let's get into it. We are a Mountain Monsters watch-along podcast, which you would have no way of knowing until right now. This used to be a show about Bigfoot. We're still finding out what this podcast is about right now. We don't fully know. This used to be a bunch of hillbillies go out in the woods. They pretend to see Bigfoot, like, almost immediately. And then because they can't ever get Bigfoot on camera, they just lose a fight to him. And they find a new way to lose a fight to Bigfoot and various other cryptids over and over and over and over again until they suddenly realize just a couple episodes ago, oh no, this sucks. We keep doing this. We don't have any more ideas. Let's make a totally different show. And so now it's, I don't know what it is. It's kind of hillbilly horror thriller, a hillbilly espionage, a little bit of espionage, counter-espionage.
It's like a fake haunted house. It's like the worst haunted house you've ever been to, and then 4 people come in and pretend to have reactions to it.
Except for there's not always haunted things. Sometimes it's just the specter of a guy, like, and not a literal specter, but just like the idea of a guy, and they're like, oh, Jesus, he could be anywhere.
There's 2 extremely funny things going on in the meta-narrative here. The first one is that the original pitch for this show, the question of why would these guys get to make the show, was never explained. They had 0 background in TV performance. They did not have a YouTube channel where they were hunting Bigfoot, where somebody came to them and was like, oh yeah, bring it to TV. No, they had nothing. They had no background in cryptid hunting. They were not going to cryptid conventions. They had not written a book. I cannot find any footprint of these guys prior to them being given their own TV show. But you think, okay, well, maybe what Destination America liked about it was its authenticity. They literally are from West Virginia. It's kind of, and that folklore is around Appalachia. It's very famous for it. So maybe they thought, well, these guys just having lived there their whole lives and being hunters is enough qualification to give them a reality show. Now they're so far off of any of that they're now using their pure acting and writing skills and writing complicated thriller plots, none of which they have any idea how to do. In other words, the shaky premise of why these guys would be allowed to make this show is blown so far out of the water because it's like they're now writing these twisty thriller plots. It's like, have you ever written anything before? Have you even watched very many movies? Because they don't know the basics of how any of that works. The other thing is, this show is disappearing behind us. HBO has now deleted the first 2 seasons of the show. So we've done 44 episodes of this podcast. If somebody goes to look up the show on HBO Max, where we've been watching it, the first episode is this one. Because we will do a podcast on an episode and then Warner Brothers deletes it.
It's like we're fleeing from nothing.
Where you have one of those platforms you're running along and it's crumbling behind you and you can't slow down or else it'll disappear. It's like when we finish this show, this podcast is going to be the only evidence mountain monsters ever existed, and nobody's going to believe us. And I don't know why it's happening. I'm not joking. Guys, go to HBO Max, go look for mountain monsters. Everything we've discussed up to today is gone.
And it's not, things move around all the time in the streaming era, and it's usually like rights have moved to somebody else. It's not going up anywhere else. They're not giving it to somebody else. And these are the people, Warner Brothers own the rights to this show. Nobody else has the inherent rights to do this. So they don't have to take this down. Nobody's buying it. They own the rights to it. They're just taking it down, which makes me think they're not going to put it back up. It's not going up anywhere else. I think it's down off of Roku now. They're taking it down off of Roku, which is one of the other places you could find it. Not all of the episodes have ever been up on like YouTube or anything. It is being eaten by the nothing. We are fleeing the nothing, and it is eating the show behind us. And at the same time that happens, the show is radically changing into something we don't have any idea what it's going to be. So we have no past and we have no future. There is only the now. There is only this moment to live in it with us. Let me go through the cast. The cast is Trapper. He's sort of the leader, but he is kind of being phased out due to very sad health issues. Huckleberry is Bigfoot security, and he is fucking kicking ass. He's just getting a new weapon or upgrading his weapon every single time. Buck is sort of the new leader. That's in contention, especially in these episodes. He was the rookie. He used to be the rookie. Jeff is ostensibly our hillbilly research scientist, but there's nothing to research anymore. Not that he was doing a great job either. I guess he can still say the names of which counties they're going into and the main produce that they are known for. I guess that can still be his. Willie is our trapper. Once again, we don't trap anymore. There are no more traps, so nobody has any role left. Nobody has a job anymore. This is what like all of every artist is going to look like after AI fully takes over. We're just going to be wandering around going like, I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know? Wild Bill is our tracker. He's never been that. He's the only one comfortable in this lawless chaos.
Yeah,
he's
a
I've
meth
always
marine,
lived here.
so they could use him here in this situation where they're just sort of being hunted and harassed by men.
Or just for advice, like, hey, you have never had any direction in your life. How do you deal with that? Because this is new to me. I'm the box guy. I'm Willie the box guy. I build boxes, and they don't need them anymore.
It's like the purest expression of TV because there's no information being conveyed. No useful, like you're not even getting real folklore. They make that stuff up on the fly. They don't even bother looking it up on Wikipedia. There's no story being told that could mean something to you because, again, they're improvising a thriller on the fly. There's no reality to the reality show. Nobody is actually in danger. It's literally just some stuff happening on a screen that you watch to avoid doing the other things in your life. It's not enriching you in any way. You're not learning something. There's no emotional uplift happening where it's like, well, I never thought of it quite that way. It's just some stuff, some colors on a screen you can stare at and just
they're not even
watch
pleasant
minutes
ones.
tick off your life.
It's mostly mud brown and chub, a lot of mud.
Yeah, or night vision. And it's worth mentioning that there's a lot of puzzles now because they're doing a lot of escape room stuff, but they're not puzzles viewers can engage with. It's like they'll find half of a map or whatever. And
well, it's because if they let the viewers engage with them, the audience would solve them instantly.
well, they did that with the Da Vinci Code. I mean, the fucking answer to that book was apple. Like, oh, what's round and has 5 letters? And Tom Hanks is like, oh gosh, what could this be? And so, like, that was a bestseller. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be hard. You just have to let the audience do it. They feel good when they do that.
I think
Mountain Monsters doesn't even do that.
I think the whole audience did shout along with them as they revealed the answer, Squatch Body.
Squatch Body.
Yes.
Yes. So I was wrong. We all saw those letters and said, wait, hold on. Rearrange those letters. That spells Squatch Body.
Of course. And there's a sexy phone number to call. If it matters, and it really doesn't anymore, we're watching Mountain Monsters Season 3, Episode 1, The Rogue Team Rises, Part 1. That's right, multi-part, sprawling continuity based on things you've never seen before in a show that is not known for doing this thing. This is not a normal episode. They apparently, I've seen teasers for what's coming up. They're never going to be normal episodes again. So ignore all of our old format too. There's no opening truck briefing. There's no, like, we're not going to research the monster and be like, I'm going to tell you whether or not this monster's real. That's gone. There's no Wild Bill and Willie's Crackhead Trap Shack. They're no longer building traps. There's not even on this
witnesses
one.
and headgear.
Yeah, no witnesses and headgear. Fucking everything's gone. Everything's been just wiped off the board. In fact, they don't even open the same way. Like it used to be, you got a little sizzle reel of clips and then you're right into it. Now they're trying they're trying the prestige drama kind of thing where they're just going to start the show and then we'll at the pivotal moment we'll play the credits. And what they do this time is they jump to a really tense scene later on in the episode where they're meeting up with the rogue team and Buck tells like a crew member, you got to get back in the truck. Like things are going to fucking tip off here. And it's only the three of them out there alone, and there's like the rogue team comes up on them. What you think is the rogue team, two kidnappers come up on them in masks and start like shoving them around and shove them into a van and like put stuff over their head, and then it cuts out and it goes straight to the credits. So you're like, oh my god, how did they get there? Like we're literally doing that record scratch. Bet you wonder how I got here kind of moment. And we'll see if they pull that off. There are rules to doing that. We'll see if they pull that off their first try.
It is very funny, the exact arrangement of this. So it starts off, because again, for the viewers watching this live, which would have had to have been an amazing experience to see this week to week, not knowing. It'd been like Game of Thrones, and like, you don't know what's coming. So they had the cliffhanger ending of the last season, would have been the ending of season 2 on HBO Max, ending of season 4 in the original airing. And, for those who don't remember our podcast from a month ago, they gathered a bunch of cards that the rogue team had left for them in a series of escape rooms. And finally, after 36 hours of effort, arranged them to say, Squatch Body! By arranging it to say, Squatch Body! That formed a phone number that they called, and then a garbled voice said, hello, Trapper. We've been waiting for you. Are you ready to make a deal? And that was the end. So the show went off the air for a year, from April 2016 to April 2017, and then came back. This episode starts with a recap to catch you up, and then has that cliffhanger, and then text comes up on the screen that says, 9 months later. Then we have that in media res thing where they are meeting with the rogue team. They've got bags shoved over their heads and shoved into a van, and then it drives off. Then we get the intro song, and then more text on the screen that says 3 days earlier. So to be clear, now we are 8 months and 27 days after the right episode. We're 3 days before the thing you just saw, that 9 months minus 3 days from the last thing that happened on the show.
I love how they find a new thing to not understand every time. Like they know there's this shorthand. Like this is such shorthand in movies that it's considered a hack move to do the like, we open on the most exciting part and then I'm gonna go 3 days earlier. How'd I get here? And now I'm gonna go do the boring stuff now that I got you hooked. They only know that exists and they don't know any of the rules for it. So now they're like, they're already nesting like 9 months earlier, 3 days later, an hour before that. And now here's the song. Oh, it's the recap all of a sudden. Like, it's way too much shit and they don't understand where to put it at all. And it's great. This
is more of a subtle thing, but this is ostensibly a reality show. And so here they are, these kidnappers are shoving these men around, and I think I counted 4 different cameras, and like, you kind of just pick up on this that like, oh, this is fake, because when they shove a guy, oh, let's cut to the guy getting shoved into a camera. You're like, okay, well, I'm not watching a real thing. Like you just can't, the verisimilitude, it's not there.
Imagine if you used that word in front of them. They lost their minds at bipedal.
They would shoot me in the leg.
Yeah,
he said bipedal. I heard him say it.
They would try to eat part of you to gain your knowledge. Like there's no way you would make it out of that hole. So 3 days earlier, we're with Huckleberry. He's going to see Trapper, and he says it's been a year since they heard from the rogue team, and like, what was up with that? It's crazy that they feel the need they have to do this. Like, I know the show itself, right, took a year break to get to it. Why do they think they have to say it's in real time? Like, they think they have to do the show in real time. So now it's a year later, we got to explain why we took a year off. No, you could just say it's like a day afterward. They don't know when you're filming this.
Okay, several members of the team are in much rougher shape than they were last season.
I don't think that occurred to them. There's no way that occurred to them. That's not why they did that. They thought there was some sort of law where, like, they have to. Like, you can't say it's a time it's not. I'm pretty sure.
It's the same thing when they could not make an excuse when Buck would leave for his day job. Instead of saying, well, he's on a secret research mission, it'd be like, nah, you had to go work at the Whole Foods at the wine bar. It's like, can you make up something? Like, no, this is a reality show. We got to be honest with the audience.
Not about everything. I mean, the Bigfoot and all that. But, like, when it's real, you can't lie about it. That's just unethical. So Trapper called for the team meeting to talk about the rogue team. A year later, no word. Buck isn't there. They're all concerned. And like Jason said, I'm ready for a Buck is at work joke, but it's not coming. Like, they're just like, I don't know what the hell is up with Buck.
Can't find him.
So Trapper does the recap. He recaps that they saw them on the thermal. They saw the rogue team on the thermal during one hunt. Right. The rogue team scared off one of their BIGFEETS on another hunt. And on, I think the last time they encountered them before the puzzles and all of that, was the Stonish Giant, when they stole their kill. Because, like, it was basically them. It was the Ames team that killed the Stonish Giant. He was already he was first blooding, poking flaming sticks into his guts, trying to survive the night running from them. And then the rogue team came in and basically just hauled his corpse away. And they were like, you can't do that.
It's pretty fucked up.
And then the rogue team started leaving them fun puzzles. And that was the last straw. You can steal our Bigfoot. You can shoot at us. You leave us fucking puzzles. That's it.
Absolutely not.
And Wild Bill is nodding along sagely to all of this, like going, even though you know he's not listening to a fucking word the Trapper's saying, because he's got real sexy new boots.
His thought bubble is meth boots, meth boots, meth boots.
Jason posted a picture of this in the Slack. They're way sexier than you're thinking. They're full knee-high, leather, tightly laced, shiny. He's constantly, like, crossing his legs, like, which way do they look better? Which way did these boots go?
Are $600 boots. Somebody linked them to me on Twitter. They are Wesco timber logging boots. They have 20 eyelets for the laces going up to the knee. It's a knee-high boot with bright yellow laces. And it very much looks like a corset for your legs.
Trapper says you got to take off your shoes unless you're wearing sex boots. So I think that's why he wore them to Trapper's place.
So this is like we've gotten so successful. Like, this is like my album has hit on the charts and I'm going to show up in like a fur coat and a sports car. This is the Mountain Monsters version of that.
Hillbilly Rolex on your feet.
Sexy boots. Trapper says there's not one member of the rogue team that could possibly outsmart them in the woods. And this is after we just showed the viewers, I want to say 10 minutes of clips of them doing exactly that, of outsmarting them over and over again, specifically in the woods.
They get lost in every cornfield they go in. Any kind of mild slope, they're like, oh, this terrain is real tough. These are not outdoorsmen.
They have never crossed a creek that they did not nearly drown in.
Yep.
Even in the shallowest of water. And also, by this point in the episode, three different times have they replayed Buck shouting, "Squatch, buddy!"
It makes me laugh every goddamn time.
Yeah. The editors know it's funny. The editors know it's hilarious because it's
What I didn't fully appreciate is that he yells, "Squatch body!" And then everybody else in the room, like, shocks into action and goes, "Squatch body!" Like, they do it, they echo it back to him. And it's,
Again,
it looks
the
like
reason
so much
we
fun.
cannot have a soundboard for this podcast is we would not get any of our own talking in. It would just be us pushing buttons and screaming "Squatch body" and all the many other clips we had captured. That Jeff scream when that guy walked up to him.
This would just be a full hour-long Squatch Body remix, just the techno remix of Squatch Body. So Trapper says they're going to do what they do best. They're going to go out there and trap the rogue team. And for one brief, brilliant moment, I thought, hell yes, Willie's back, and he's making man traps. It doesn't work out that way. It doesn't work out that way at all. Trapper adds, once we catch them, I'm going to waterboard them. And Wild Bill just cracks the fuck up and gives him a fist bump.
Yeah, because Trapper was not joking when he said that.
At all.
And Wild Bill's not laughing because it's a joke. He's laughing in anticipation of the waterboarding. Now, this is crucial because if you don't pay close attention, you're going to get lost later. Trapper says to the team, knowing what's going on, specifically that these guys sent us these playing cards not a year ago, 9 months ago, and then have done nothing since. And for all we know, they may have left the state and gotten full-time jobs, so they don't have time to do this anymore. But in light of what's happened, we got those mysterious cards and then heard nothing for 9 months. We have three options. One, we continue to hunt Bigfeet, but I think that would be futile because the rogue team would just come in and steal the kill every time, acknowledging that they are helpless in the face of these much superior Bigfoot hunters. Two, we can throw in the towel and call it quits and go back and get day jobs again. Or three, we go after this rogue team. Now, Buck is not at that meeting. So the key divergence that's going to happen here is that Trapper says we need to aggressively go after this rogue team right now.
And they all agree.
And they all agree at the meeting, but Buck is not there. And what's going to happen is Buck has a totally different agenda. And it's going to create a lot of conflict because where Trapper wants to aggressively get out there and go after this rogue team with everything we've got, Buck wants to do something totally different from that, which we'll get to.
They're so out of their depth. It's hilarious how they're like, man, we really mastered the format of this Bigfoot hunting show that we invented. We had that so down pat, there was no room for improvement. We've got to, sure, we'll take some stumbles, but we've really got to approach a new way of storytelling here. We're up for the challenge.
And we have our heroes fantasizing about torture right off the bat.
Right.
Wild Bill says, I wrote down this quote. He said, "That waterboarding, that'll get her done, bro. That's sort of, I'll be down with that." Fist bump.
What about waterboarding? Again, this is like 2017. This is not 2003 when all of American culture
hyped
was
up
like
on
this.
9/11, right?
Yeah.
Like,
This is 15 plus years after that when we were like, man, that was fucked up how we were all like, yeah, let's waterboard everybody.
And Jason's right that Trapper was not saying that as a laugh line. He wasn't like, hey guys, here's a funny joke about waterboarding. He's like, yeah, we're going to torture and kill these men when we find them.
Yes.
So when he's getting a big laugh, he tries to make that adjustment and it ends up coming out like as a little Brendan Fraser clap. He kind of, that's his response to the fist bump, is like a little, it's just adorable, like not human behavior in any way.
So Wild Bill is so hyped on this, he says, if I catch them, they're gonna get a Marine boot up their ass. Like, you knew he was gonna find a way to bring up the boots.
He's been dying to talk about
Yeah,
them.
nobody complimented his boots, and so he's over here on testimonial going, these are official Marine stripper boots. They're not.
He looks like George the Animal Steele at a funeral.
So Huckleberry, after this meeting, Huckleberry's driving off, and he reveals that I've been keeping some secrets. He knows where Buck is after all. He's going to meet him in the woods. And Buck says he's out here because he's sick of doing nothing. He wants to go after them. And if he had been to the meeting, he would know they were already doing that.
Yeah, that's the plan, Buck.
Yeah, but Huckleberry agrees because they decide the two of them have to go out on their own. Because Buck has gotten the producer note that it's kind of weird that you introduced two separate rival teams of Bigfoot hunters. You had that group of poachers and then the group of the rogue team, and you never acknowledged that maybe they knew each other. And so Buck has a theory that, well, if we track down those poachers, maybe they can lead us to the rogue team. But it has to be me and Huckleberry alone. And Huckleberry agrees with this because he's like, the Trapper would not agree with what we're doing because our plan is to go out and to try to find this rogue team no matter what. But Trapper's plan was to go out and try to find the rogue team no matter what.
Technically, they are different rogue teams that they're each going after one rogue team that they forgot they invented.
In a way, sure.
So Buck thinks he knows where the big army trucks. They used a big army truck to pull down their trap. These poachers. Remember, in that episode, they had invented the rogue team, and the rogue team was a big threat. And then they forgot about the rogue team, Ames team, the Mountain Monsters show. So they did a whole storyline about the poachers, who were in effect a rogue team of Bigfoot hunters that had come out there.
When I was watching it, I thought of a cool line. You have to go rogue to catch rogue. But they did not say that. What Huckleberry actually said is, the last thing you want to do is piss off a rhino or hillbilly because they're basically the same thing. When they get mad, it's done, son. You better run.
You better run,
Not
son.
his best. I'm just saying, a lot of talk of rogue. You got guys going rogue. There's something there.
You got a lot of rogues going on. Anyway, Buck thinks he knows where that truck is, so he and Huckleberry are heading out for a stealth mission, a 2-man, 600-pound stealth mission. They head into the woods, where they find a footprint and a cigarette butt, and they're like, oh, there's a human out here, and there's no time to contemplate that, because they just accidentally ran into a Bigfoot that they weren't looking for.
Unrelated.
Just happened to be, they were on their way to the truck.
They were walking from where they parked Buck's truck to where the rogue team had parked their truck. And while walking from truck to truck, they ran into a Sasquatch. And it like ran away and like, oh, look at the branches that destroyed up there. That was a Bigfoot. So that, again, these guys cannot take 5 steps without stumbling over a Sasquatch, at least one. Now, that's extremely important because some of you were worried that Bigfoot was not going to turn up in this 2-episode saga. Now that they've established, oh, there's a Bigfoot here, it'll be very interesting to see how that comes back into the story. Because think of how crazy it would be if you were, say, watching a movie and 5 minutes into the movie they stumbled across a Sasquatch and then never mentioned it again.
That'd be so fucking crazy.
If that happened in, like, Saving Private Ryan.
I'm telling you, there's some sort of funding on the line. There's like some, like the Travel Channel Destination America Online Plus or whatever layers deep sub channel that was funding this came up to them and is like, this show is not about, you sold us a show about Bigfoot.
It's
Bigfoot
in the contract.
not in any of these episodes, man. So they're like, oh, okay, here's Bigfoot. We ran into him. Oh, he's gone. It'll never come up again.
Almost had him.
Never comes up again. They run into a Bigfoot and he scampers off into the woods and they're like, not going to do anything about that. And there's no consequences for that. He doesn't burn down a village or something. And they're like, oh my God, if only we had prevented this. No.
They came within 5 feet of a Sasquatch. And they react less than I would react to seeing a bunny rabbit in my yard, where I will like stop and with my dog, like, oh, look, we got a bunny in the yard. That will be several minutes. These guys get over this immediately. It's like, well, no, there's no reason to go chasing after it. I mean, why would
1 minute? They're 1 minute from running into the police, and they do not tell the police about the wild Sasquatch running around in the area.
So they find the truck, and as soon as they find the truck, cops pull up, and they immediately surrender as Huckleberry says, ain't no need to run, Buck. At the very least, you're trespassing. You have an assault rifle. Huckleberry has his assault rifle, like basically in the air, and they are both, their mission is to hunt men. Like, they are out here hunting men to waterboard them, apparently. At least Huckleberry. He knows the plan.
When you put it like that, maybe Maybe
it's
there's
like
something
1
wrong
a.m.
with what they're doing.
Yeah,
It's in the middle of the
Okay.
night when they're
it's
doing this.
very least trespassing. So the cop says, "What are you doing out here?" And the last thing they should say is the truth, but they tell him, "We're making a Bigfoot show," and we're a guy. Actually, I don't think they say Bigfoot to him. I think they say, "We're making a show," which to me says maybe they have a sense of shame.
No, Robert, you fool. Colt Straub comes out, says to the cop, "My name's Colt. We shoot a show called Mountain Monsters."
Uh-huh.
Establishing that this is the show they're shooting in the universe. Remember, the last episodes we did, they decided that that wasn't true. That when they're alone, they are truly alone, and the things they're saying are secret and are not being recorded for broadcast.
I can never keep straight. Maybe that's because also the show can't.
Now, when the cop showed up, I initially thought this was a real cop that showed up to the shoot. But then they start talking to him, and he plays into the fiction of the show. Mm-hmm. So if he's not credited as an actor, they do not have a credit for thanks for the cooperation of whatever local police department. I can't figure out what they did here, because he's a fully equipped cop. It's not like one of their friends in like just a blue T-shirt with cop written on it.
Stripper outfit, the pants come
gun
off.
belt, flashlights, got the radio on his shoulder, squad car lights. It's so either they're in West Virginia. Can you rent? Is he a stripper? Can you rent?
Fully equipped.
Because
I think
once
Wild
they
Bill's
start
stole
talking
another
to him,
cop car, probably.
because in the next episode they're going to have a full team of like cops to come out and do a manhunt, like fully equipped, all this stuff. And I don't know how they did it. I don't know if they're actors. Did they bring them out from Hollywood?
I have a shocking theory. I think those cops were actual fans of the show.
That's what I think too.
But
that's why I thought there would be a thanks to credit at the end, where it wouldn't credit actors, would be thanks to whatever Lee County Sheriff's Department.
A true fan would know that above all they need to preserve kayfabe. Like, no, you can't thank me or say anything. Otherwise, that'll break the consistency of the universe. The number one most valuable thing about this show. That's why I love it. It's the consistency that you have from show to show.
What I love about this is they start talking to the cop about like bringing him into the plot. Like, well, this truck, we're trying to find the owners of this truck here at 1 a.m. The two of us out here in the middle of the night on private property poking around this truck. We're definitely not here to steal the catalytic converter or to shoot some pornography in the back of the truck with this camera crew we have with us. And the cop instead is like, well, it's like a Law and Order thing where he's got a bunch of information. Like, well, that truck was stolen a year ago and then returned. So the cop is like, gives them stuff that advances the plot, which in real life, the cop would be just like, shut up, get down, get on the ground.
Yeah. You have a fucking AR-15.
He is holding up an assault rifle, yeah.
Yeah, but you came out here in the middle of the night with an AR-15. You came out here to murder somebody. You came out here to kill his ex-wife or something. No,
they hear the story. They're like, a vigilante revenge Bigfoot mission? Hell yeah, we can help out with that, civilians.
It worked so well, I'm going to try it the next time I'm pulled over by the police in the middle of the night with an assault rifle. I'm going to tell them, hey, I'm actually filming a Bigfoot hunting show. Do you want to be in it? Do you want to? It's just on my phone, but you can hear your lines.
I'm 100% sure that would work. I've been on enough scavenger hunts to know that if you say, hey, we're on a scavenger hunt, literally, people will let you do anything. Whatever you say next, they're on board.
I want a Bigfoot scavenger hunt. That's
the landowner pulls up because, again, this is his property. The truck is on his property, and there's a cop car and a bunch of vehicles and a dude with an AR-15 out there. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to shoot all these people. And instead, again, he's just immediately falls into, well, I think I know where you can find those poachers.
Both.
It's like, why would you assume these are the good guys?
And the landowner immediately have pieces to the puzzle. Both of them happen to show up and be like, I actually have the piece of the puzzle you're looking for. And then the landowner pulls up and says, no, I actually haven't. Right.
And then an Uber Eats guy drives up, gives them their food and says, I know the names of those men.
It's to happen once, you're like, that's bad showmanship. Twice is hilarious. That's a really good gag.
It's really funny.
So now that they know where the poachers are, that's the information they got from the cop and the landowner, Buck says, that rogue team has run circles around us, and now it's our turn to fight back. Because they're not going to run any circles. They're not even... That's a bluff. That's an easily called bluff. So he says there's only one person, Buck and Huckleberry, that they might be able to persuade to their side on this. Only one they can trust. Oh yeah, you know. You know, right? It's the rebel of the crew, the loose cannon, the wild card. It's Jeff, everybody.
So the next day, because again, they did not immediately proceed out to that spot. They waited till the next day for some reason. And they're waiting in a field to meet with Jeff. And Huckleberry says, you know, Trapper won't like them going behind his back. But we know if we could just talk to him, he would see things our way. Which, one, that's true. You're doing exactly what Trapper said to do in the team meeting. But two, why can't you talk to him? Didn't you talk to him just hours earlier at his house? He can't leave.
You can't.
He's been
you can't
literally
talk to him
trying
twice
to talk
in a week.
to Buck.
That's all he'll talk to you.
I guess that's true. I like that all they have is the Miller farm. They're like, okay, you got to go out to the Miller farm. And so instead of like going online or opening a phone book, they just start going to nearby farms and assuming they are the Miller farms. They find an M. They're like, this one's got to be the Miller farm.
They find a barn with a big M on it and said, that's it. That's the Miller farm.
That's the Miller farm. And
probably, maybe.
So they're trespassing again. They're armed and trespassing again. And they're on somebody else's property in broad daylight. And they find somebody doing something in a building. Dun dun dun! There's literally a horror musical sting when they find somebody in the property. They stop and go, "Oh my god, somebody's in that building!" It's his fucking building, man. He's just like in his garage.
This is the next day. This is not the middle of the night. This is the middle of the workday. He's out there doing farm stuff.
So Mr. Miller or Murkowski or Murphy or whoever he happens to be,
you know what M stands for? Mr. Squatch Body.
Rearrange it. Get his phone number. He tells them, I've got a loaded 45 not 10 feet from here. He doesn't feel compelled to go get it because he knows he's safe. Like, none of these men are covering.
Yeah, Buck did the math. He's 15 feet away. So at his top speed, factoring in frequent stops for rests and snacks, he has no prayer beating this old man to the gun. So he just puts his hands up in surrender. He's like, oh, you got a gun 10 feet from you? Please, sir, I'm helpless against
He doesn't move to get it. The man's like, oh, don't worry. You're in no danger to me. I'm just letting you know that I could kill you very easily.
Yeah. I got a gun 10 feet away inside a locked safe behind a combination that is disassembled and unloaded. I can easily do all of that before you make it up here.
So
I have an anvil. I will craft a sword, but I also have a pizza 20 feet in that direction.
So it's one of those word problems. You're going to have to calculate the trajectories. It's so goddamn funny because Mr. Miller says, I also know where the poachers are.
Well, because Buck comes up to him, and to be fair to Buck, Buck says, quote, I talked to a man who had his truck stolen by a pile of poachers. And I desperately wish here Buck had just... Because you get the sense in these next two episodes that these guys know that it is shameful to have a Bigfoot hunting reality show.
Sure.
So instead, Buck says, we're after these poachers who stole a guy's truck. He frames it like that instead of framing it as, sir, what's happened is the Kentucky wild man emerged from the caves 3 million years ago. He formed 12 tribes of Bigfeet that then used the waterways to travel around Appalachia in crude boats. One of them was called the Stonish Giant. Now, he was wounded by another hunter, and then a different rival team of Bigfoot hunters tracked him through the woods and shot him a second time and stole the body. We consider that to be a crime worthy of a capital punishment because we wanted the Bigfoot body.
And those jerks broke our trap. We're looking for the jerks that broke our trap. I'd be like, sir, I'm really glad you came onto my property. I'm happy to help you.
We are going to be best friends as long as you keep saying really funny shit. Like, I'm just going to get high and you talk.
I laughed so hard when he drew them a map in the dirt to get to the poachers' camp, as if it's like an RPG and they have like a permanent base out in the woods.
I hope Buck
so
took a
good.
screenshot of that map because he's gonna forget it. He's gonna have to go all the way back and be like, I should have hit the goddamn share button. I can't believe I didn't. So they did it. 3 people have now come up to them and been like, I know where the poachers are. I know where the poachers are. You need to go to this guy. I know where the poachers are.
They have a permanent outdoor camp.
Yeah, they have a Fallout style, like crude wooden fortress that they have built out there. So they go out to meet them, and Jeff, that little rebel, has snuck off to tell Daddy. He's telling Trapper. It's like the first thing that he does as a member of their team is to tell on them.
Tattle.
The way this is shot and set up is bizarre because you get a radio transmission from the crew saying, we need to get a camera on Jeff right now. He's calling Trapper. And then you get a hidden camera shot from the bushes outside of Jeff's truck, listening in while he calls Trapper. And then Trapper flies into a rage, and you get on-screen text. It's like, Trapper demands to speak to the production team after learning what Buck was up to. It's so weird because it's not clear at this point who is in on what.
Right.
Yeah, why?
Also, it feels like cheating to have Trapper be able to say, hey, production crew, you exist, and I want to talk to you about something that you filmed. Because this is how every show would have ended. When they're saying, hey, remember when Bigfoot knocked me down when he came through that door? Can we see the footage of that? Because, like, we would love to get a picture of Bigfoot. They've never done that. They would have done that 1,000 times on this show. Remember when Hogzilla, like, jumped out of a truck and knocked Jeff over? They didn't say, like, dude, you must have an awesome shot of that Hogzilla. No,
they have. Actually, every time Colt just looks them dead in the eye and says, no.
So Trapper summons Colt to his kitchen, and then they're arguing, and Trapper's yelling, Colt, I know damn well that you have a cameraman and a sound man with Buck. But this conversation is being filmed with a hidden camera from the hallway. And then Trapper, like, peers out of the hall. It's like, I can see that damn camera.
Right.
What is happening?
Why that?
I can see that damn camera. Get it on in here. Come on, don't be shy.
We're making
Get
a
in
TV
here.
show. None of this is a secret. We're filming the show Mountain Monsters. All of this is going in the show.
You
That's not a
called
joke.
us? You invited me into your home.
That's not a joke. Trapper sees the camera hiding from him and is like, you with the camera. Get in here. We are filming a TV show. He literally says, we are filming a TV show to remind the crew. The crew's like, oh, right. That was weird what we just did. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We all got really high out there, and like the paranoia is up. I don't feel like anything. My fingers can't touch. Is that just me? That's just me.
But now we get the stakes of the episode. And Trapper says if Buck does not check in soon, he's going to kick him off of the Ames team.
Yeah,
He's not
a loose
threatening.
cannon.
It's a fact. He does a little desk bump with his fist. He's very serious.
He's a
This
loose
is the
cannon.
maddest he's ever been.
Yeah.
Because Buck has gone off after this rogue team when Trapper gave the team a directive to go off after the rogue team.
Yeah. He's not following orders.
I mean, he is following orders. All that really needs to happen is Huckleberry at this point needs to say, hey, Trapper said go after him. And then everything is cool. Everything is off. It's just chain of command. It's just chain of command down there. So Buck's about to lose his badge and gun. He's the loose cannon being yelled at by the sergeant. It's a great scene. They're out here. Buck and Huckleberry, and ostensibly Jeff, are out here to attack the poachers. That's their plan. Wild Bill and Willie pull up, and they have this confrontation. Like, you are out here to attack the poachers. We are here to help you attack the poachers, but we're mad about it. Like, okay, I don't know what this confrontation is. And Jeff interrupts all of this to very meekly say, it was me. When they ask, like, Buck says, like, how did you even know? And Jeff just taps his chest. Like, he taps his chest with one finger and points to his chest a couple of times like a toddler would. And he goes, me, mole. And Buck storms off, and we cut to commercial. And the second we come back from a commercial, he storms back in, ready to apologize to everybody.
Yeah. It's all
because
water under the
initially
bridge.
Buck was just apoplectic with rage that Jeff had told Trapper that they were going after the rogue team as Trapper told them to. It would have been very easy to tweak this to have a legitimate like reality show argument, because I know that staging reality show arguments is a key part of the art form, but just one brief discussion where it's like, okay, Trapper, when you get everybody out on your deck, tell them that you think it's too dangerous to go after the rogue team. Tell them that you just think, because it's not like hunting a Bigfoot, these are real guys, they're criminals, they've got guns. This is for the police. This is not for us. That's something you call, if you're being stalked by armed men, you call the cops. You don't just go off on an adventure, a series of escape rooms, and then Buck is like, no, screw that. And then he eventually wins them over. Instead, they accidentally had both sides of the argument wanting the exact same things in the exact same way at the exact same time.
Well, it is a chain of, as Brockway said, it's a chain of command issue. That's what it all comes down to, because Trapper is in charge. But then Buck responds to that, because that's what Jeff tells him. He says, Trapper's not in charge right now. The rogue team is. Because again, 9 months ago, these guys gave them some puzzle cards and then vanished from their lives. And so I think, I think it's a good point. They are in charge. The guys they sort of heard from 9 months ago are running their lives.
I do
that makes
think
sense, right?
that Buck, for the last 9 months, has been haunted by the trauma of solving one Wordle. I do think that really like fucked with his whole life, and this whole time he's like, they're the ones in charge. They're in charge of my whole goddamn life. They made me rearrange those letters, and I couldn't do it, it turns out. I thought it said shot by Sequad.
Which is nothing.
I was
That
on
made no
camera.
sense.
You guys put that on television that I couldn't solve it. And then it said Squatch
I couldn't
Body.
remember if Squatch Body was the real answer or Shot by Sequad was the real answer.
Well, Squatch Body's the
Because
real one.
neither one of them are anything. Neither one of them are satisfying puzzle solutions.
The real
Yeah,
one.
'cause as a message, what is Squatch Body even? What is
Squatch Body?
What do we do now?
By the way, I realize that we have not addressed the elephant in the room, which is that, in fact, the rogue team might very well have been sending them puzzles every day for the last 9 months, and they just
Right.
didn't realize
They're
that's
just
what
get
they
'em.
were.
Went
They
to
were just
spam.
throwing them in the trash like,
Angrily throwing them in the garbage like, no, I'm not doing another Wordle. I did one. That's enough. Anyway, Buck has to apologize because to move this forward, I mean, you can't be a lone wolf and do a pincer movement. And that's
Yeah.
what we're going to do. The next thing
But
we do is a pincer
It's
movement.
the lowest energy pincer movement because Buck is pouting. He's like very literally pouting. And so when he's giving the plan, which as you mentioned is a brilliant new plan where the two teams split up and then go around and then come together. He's
so
just like, I don't know.
on the permanent bandit outpost, video game bandit outpost, where they've got
Yeah.
like the big bonfire in the middle, and they're just running around with their guns, shouting. It's straight up a Borderlands
Yeah.
bandit outpost from any.
I've
open world game
taken
you've ever
over
played.
that 150 times in the Far Cry games. Like I've just
Far
I
Cry
know
base.
exactly how that goes. It's very funny. So they find this bandit outpost and they're just like having a party. They're running around having a bandit party, so fully armed and like looking dangerous and in groups of two, but then wandering off alone so that you can stealth kill them like conveniently. Wild Bill does a very adorable, totally needless barrel roll into some leaves. Like a
thought that was
barrel
Rolls
awesome.
into frame because as Buck is trying to approach, this is the other team coming around to do the other part of the pincer, and then you see Willie and you see Wild Bill just spinning into the frame of the landing.
Flies
doesn't
in
wanna-
from off screen.
No reason.
Doesn't want to get his new boots dirty. You
I will say it's we're not filming that from the head point of view. It's from the boot point of view. He was like, "What's the maximum best way to show off these boots?" I know I'm going to do a spin and barrel roll.
My notes just say fucking awesome.
He's having so much fun. Buck and Jeff just wander up to talk to the poacher. So like that's the plan is they're just going to go up and talk to the poacher chieftain, I guess.
Yeah.
What is his role
That's what
here?
you call him.
It's
Poach
the one
captain.
that they talked to before, and the poacher takes one look at Buck and Jeff, and he says, "What's gonna live in my heart forever?" He says, "It's the big man in the wood elf."
calls Jeff a wood elf.
No
A
idea.
wood elf.
He's clearly a gnome, right?
Yeah, but
I think
wood
that
elf
this
is
word
pretty
gnome
close.
escaped him.
It's
Yeah, it's been a while since I played them Dungeons and Dragons. What are you, a satyr? A carrion crawler? I can't remember the name for it. Rust monster. You goddamn rust monster.
The guy that Buck confronts is going to be the main representative for the bandit side is not a good actor, and he's not a good improviser.
It's rough.
Because he's playing the role of like crazy man who is like very, like brash, and he's not gonna back down. And Buck says to him, accuses them of being poachers, and says, "Well, now you ain't got a truck door to hide behind." Which, if you remember, the encounter Buck was talking about, Buck walked up totally unarmed, and the other guy pointed a Glock at his forehead. This is Buck saying, "Well, I bet you're not so tough now, even though they've all got guns." The poacher says, and this is accurate according to the closed captioning, "We're not poachers. I don't care what you believe. Nature's our artwork." I have a screen grab of that.
It's beautiful. Did you just say he wasn't good at improv? What?
It's so incredible. So I thought, like, are they like an art collective? Does he
Yeah.
mean like they're doing like murderous tableaus with the bodies they take?
Hannibal style.
That's
Yeah.
a line from the Hannibal TV show. That is
Yeah.
straight up a Hannibal
Yeah,
villain.
mankind is my artwork, and you're like, oh, that's fucked up,
That's-
but also really funny.
That's the episode where Hannibal fights like the guy making deer organ sculptures.
They
We
have
are
to
so alike.
transition. They have to transition from that to a physical altercation. And so
Yeah.
the poacher gets up and says, "You come down here and you talk, and all you're doing is talking and talking and talking. You're just a talker. You're just a talking away." Because they're trying to like stage
Yeah.
a fight, which is actually difficult to do if you don't have like a fight choreographer or any
For
kind
sure.
of planning or rehearsal or.
I like their idea was to go belly to belly. Just
Yeah,
to,
like
They press up,
walruses.
they press up and go belly to belly, hillbilly
Which-
style.
Bad move on that poacher's part. I mean, if that's
I-
that's a classic mistake.
It's got to be the one way Buck wins a fight is if you decide to take him belly to belly.
He does
Like
just belly
reach
bounce him.
advantage.
He just belly bounces him straight away. You're like,
Yeah.
how else was that going to go, man? You could fit in that belly. That's maybe the end game here. I don't know. So
Big
they
Man
go-
and the Wood Elf. It's. I'm still haunted by it.
It's-
Because they're clearly. If you meet those guys and you want to insult them, that's Kirby and the Pea Pants. That's what you call Buck and Jeff. Big Man and the Wood Elf.
It seems like I believe that guy really came up with that on the moment in improv, called him a wood elf.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like it really bugged Jeff for a minute. He was like, you could see him get like shocked, and he's like, "What? Well, we didn't discuss that. Don't call me a wood elf."
That's a man who knows he's going to be seeing that in the comments of every YouTube
Yes.
video, of every Facebook post he makes for the rest of his life. Like, hey, it's the Wood Elf.
Instant.
What if it's an
nickname.
inside joke? What if Buck's or what if Jeff's D&D character is a Wood Elf and this guy's like part of their group?
Big man? I play a big man.
Yeah,
I
Buck
believe
plays
that's
Big
the
Man.
class.
Yeah, Buck's the friend who doesn't know how to play, but he's just there because that's what all his friends are doing.
So they go. They're in their belly to belly walrus showdown, and Buck pulls his ace in the hole, and that's Willie and Wild Bill, who have them fully covered in their secret position. He calls them to come out of that. He calls them right at abandon your cover and your secret position, and just mill about with these drunk armed
Perfect
hillbillies
pincer.
with us.
Because they know where the improv has to go. It has to go with them all sitting down to have a discussion, because this group of guys, like everyone they've spoken to, has additional plot information for them. But trying to get from we're all standing here toe to toe, pointing guns at each other, and now here's these two more guys with guns, to get from that to we're all sitting down and talking. One of the most awkward things I've ever seen filmed in
So rough.
in any format where they kind of just have to like pretend to fight, and like Buck pushes the guy a little bit and they push around like, well, now why don't we just put all the guns over there against the fence, and we all like, all right, we agree to do that. We agree to all put
Yeah,
our, because it's like the next thing that has to, by the way, listeners, there's only 10 minutes left in this episode. They have learned nothing so far about the rogue team. They've spent this whole time just trying to find where this unrelated group of poachers has their camp. So hopefully what we find out here is going to be huge.
Buck, now that he has them, now that he has everything he could possibly want, this is the information finding phase. And he says, I have only one question. So you're like, fuck, that better be a good question. Was you guys hired to tear down our trap? That's the only question he has. And he is a man of his word. He does not ask another question. Yeah. He doesn't say, who hired you? What did they look like? Why? Where was it? Like, and no other questions.
How did the money change hands?
Were you hired? They say, yes.
Mm-hmm. Which we knew.
What's their phone number?
The one thing we knew about them.
Their email address, that they contacted you, any of that? No. The guy says, yeah, they hired us to do a job. We know nothing about them, didn't see them, no additional information. All right.
We have just learned in the in-universe that the poacher who was driving that truck that pulled down the trap was telling the truth when he was just hired. He wasn't part of the rogue team. He was just hired to pull down that trap. That was the twist of that episode. The twist of that episode was that guy in that truck pulled down their trap, and then he said, oh, no, I was just paid to do it. I don't know what's going on. And then somebody hops on the radio and is like, ha, you suckers, you chumps, I was not paid after all. But it turns out he was just fucking with them because he actually was paid.
Yeah, he was paid. And then that walkie-talkie call was a prank, I guess.
That's what this whole episode was for. That was it. That's all we've done. He calls Jeff a wood elf again. I guess we've done two things. We've
given a man a new nickname. Jeff gives him like a menacing point, which I thought was really funny.
So funny.
With his finger, not his gun.
I'm going to do something about it. But he's got, this is the showdown. He's got his shotgun revolver in his little overalls hand pocket. He doesn't take it out or anything. He just walks away. He points at him like, don't do that again. So having one question whose answer they knew a year ago confirmed, they leave. They don't save the town because this whole time, the people, the cop, the landowner, the Miller farm, the Miller guy, all of them said, I know where the poachers are. Those people have caused nothing but trouble. I have run-ins with them all the time. Like, if this was Reacher, they would take those poachers down. Mm-hmm. That they have no moral obligation to do that. They just leave, and the poachers are everybody's problem still. Nothing is. It
would have gone exactly the same way on Reacher too. Reacher would have pulled up, and they would have said, "Well, look at Big Man and the Wood Elf," and they would have gone belly to belly with Reacher, and then been totally shocked when Reacher broke them all in half.
Just all politely sat down to discuss it. Reacher would have asked them one question. Do you guys have paying work? And they would have said yes. And he'd be like, that's good to hear. And then they would all go their separate ways.
Yeah.
So the next day, Colt wants to meet up with the team to show them video footage of something they didn't realize they caught on tape. It's the rogue team's black SUV, the SUV that followed them in the previous episode.
This was a shock to me. This was a twist because when I heard the production company wanted to meet with them, I thought it would be about the time they kidnapped several men in the woods on camera. And maybe say, we can't do that. We can't put this on television. You held these men at gunpoint.
No, it's not that. It reveals that they actually saw that SUV on camera. And that's when Buck says, actually, I have a secret too. I have the pictures they were out there taking because they texted them to me that same day along with a message. He was never going to bring that up? You've been specifically hunting these guys, and you just never thought to mention it to anybody until Colt showed them this video. If Colt hadn't been like, hey, I noticed a tiny, edge of a black car in the background of one of our shots, and Buck was like, oh, right, I never returned that text. from the rogue team.
Those guys just texted me. I like
Yeah.
it because it implies that these men have been following the Ames team for this whole 9 months and just waiting for them to start doing Bigfoot hunts again so they could like text these pictures. To me, that's what that implies, right? Like they've been doing, I don't know.
And you stop. They're like, the message is, are you guys not hunting Bigfoot anymore? Because we love that. That's what we liked about you.
So Buck gets this message that says, stop chasing shadows. And then it has coordinates, and it says meeting time 7 p.m. So the protagonist in this episode had zero agency whatsoever. This information was not a result of anything anybody did, not Trapper's side, not Buck's side. The rogue team just messaged them, finally just got sick of them driving around and talking to these poachers that they worked with briefly 2 years ago, or however long the Phantom of the Forest episode was, and finally just got fed up and just messaged him because they have Buck's number. Okay, so what was the rest of this episode about? Their episode's almost over. What did they accomplish?
Imagine being the rogue team, this elite, highly trained, super high-tech, organized, like, spy society going head-to-head, and you're like, we have to engage with our nemesis, the Ames team. And then they're like, okay, you're following them, you're watching them, listening to them the whole time. They're like, wow, they've found our henchmen. They found our henchmen, and, like, they've disarmed them. Okay, like, here's where they're gonna advance another step forward in our game. And Buck says, I have one question. Were you guys hired? Rogue team just back there losing their fucking minds. Are you fucking kidding? Yeah. Ask him by who? By who? God damn it.
The storytelling is so
Bill,
masterful.
you gotta text him. You gotta text him the answer. This is Squatch Body all over again. They're not gonna get it. They're not gonna get it.
Do you understand, guys? This was 3 days. It's been day and night 3 times. They spent 3 consecutive days trying to track down this group of poachers to ask them that one question that could have been an email.
Just like watching a toddler try to open Lunchables. You're like, I want to help you.
It occurred to me right now that it opened with them being kidnapped at a meeting. And just now, after the full episode, we find out that they got to that meeting by the bad guys texting them to come to the meeting.
Yes.
And all of the stuff before that was pointless. Like, this is very literally pointless.
Just stuff happening on a screen.
This is
So
what I
the
was
idea
saying.
of like, how did these guys end up in this crazy situation? Oh, their kidnappers texted them to get kidnapped.
Right. Like that's
Come get
the
kidnapped
rule.
at this spot.
It's a hack move to do the here's how did I wind up here, record scratch. That's the rule, is that you're like, now we have to go back in time and I inform you of all of the things that justify this crazy scenario. And now let's revisit that crazy scenario with all the knowledge that we have to inform the scene, and therefore you view it differently. That's the only reason you do that scene. And here we're here. We're back to that scene. Now they show up at that latitude and longitude, and they start like, we're doing the kidnapping scene now. Mm-hmm. Nothing has changed. We know nothing more than we did at the start. That's not how you do this.
It reminds me of another great show, Fargo, where they open the every season with like a wild murder. And like, then people come upon the scene and they're like, dude, what the fuck happened here? And then the season is like that information being distilled to the people in the show. Now, so this would be like if Fargo had the wild murder and the cops show up and then the murderer's there and he says, dude, I got to tell you what happened. And then they have a full video of exactly what happened. And then they go to jail.
I got a text saying, come murder these people, so I did it.
Yeah. The cop gets a text. You got to come see this murder I just did.
I really thought there was going to be more to it than that. All right.
Screwed around for 3 consecutive days doing something totally unrelated, and then I showed up here and murdered these people.
Yeah.
Shit just happens. That's real life. This is fucking art or something. So we're right back to this scene from the beginning where the 2 apparently rogue team guys in their hoodies and masks come in. And they throw them against the truck, and they tie them up, and they take them to the secondary location.
Okay, we do need to back up for a moment because something important happens. Because there's only 3 of them there. Mm-hmm. What happens is, before they get to the meeting site at the coordinates, they dispatch Willie and Wild Bill. And Buck says, Willie, Wild Bill, take your hunting rifles and cover us. Go out, 500 yards to that tree line. So you'll have a line of, if you need to open fire on these guys, you'll cover us. Then you cut to Wild Bill saying, we're going to go 1,000 yards to the tree line and keep an eye on our team members. That's more than half a mile away. I realize most of the listeners have never fired a rifle at a great distance. And you may think, well, with a hunting rifle, you can probably shoot it very far. 1,000 yards away.
At night.
A military sniper with a military-grade .338 sniper rifle with a spotter at night would not try that shot. That way, if they made that shot in those conditions, they would be telling that story for the rest of their life. 1,000 yards is a ludicrous distance to be away from the guys you're supposed to be watching.
I like the idea of being, even if it was only 500 yards, if you're a world-class runner, fastest 400-meter runner on Earth, that's a minute sprint away on level ground. At night on lumpy grass, that's a 2-minute jog. I'm just saying, like, you're not covering your friend if they're 2 full minutes away at a full run.
You guys are acting like this is a gotcha moment. Like you're
Yeah,
finding
they're busted.
something.
The show's dumb. Busted.
No. You're like, oh no, we've caught you. I have evidence that this is exactly like they knew all of this, and that's why they sent them out that distance, because Willie and Wild Bill are covering them from the tree line this whole time. And what happens is the rogue team members come there and they say, you guys, you have to agree to be tied up. We're going to put bags on your heads. They start pushing the cameramen around and are like, I am not going to take any more than one cameraman with me. So they agree. They agree, of course, we have to take, it's only fair to take one cameraman with them. And this whole time, Willie and Wild Bill are watching them just get like mauled and manhandled, and they're like, okay, just waiting for our moment for our perfect shot. So everything we're going to discuss from here till the end of the episode, remember, Willie and Wild Bill are there with their rifles trained on them, waiting for the perfect moment where things go too far and they've got to run in and save them. Just remember that they're like their god out there with their sniper rifle covering the Navy SEALs.
There's another thing that happens here that is a great comedy beat where they're getting kidnapped. And then on a reality show, especially this one, they'll cut to people doing testimonials after the fact. And so while Huckleberry is being kidnapped, it cuts to him from perfect safety sometime in the future saying, we got no options. We just got to go with the flow. Just talking about his kidnapping that we're watching in the past.
We are being kidnapped as I speak. It's so weird. It's the most impossible one of those they've ever done, aside from when they're being chased by the Snallygasters in their golf cart and then stopped and did a stationary testimonial saying, well, we're running away from these Snallygasters as fast as we can in this golf cart. And he's like standing in the...
And remember, it's been a long time since we brought this up, but we used to give them credit for like, oh, this is after the fact and they're revisiting it. And then at some point in one of the episodes, they had, I think it was Willie who was giving a testimonial to camera, and then he has to leave the testimonial to go rejoin the fight that he had stepped away from. So they're like, no. This is all happening in real time. All of our testimonials are like, I just took this Bigfoot, it's fucking kicking Trapper's ass back, just mashing him up against the tree. I stepped over here to tell you about it. Oh shit, I gotta get back. I gotta help him.
Do you know what this means? It means you're busted again. The show's dumb.
So Buck gets the kidnappers to agree to take one cameraman. They won't take more than one. They're no fools. And Buck says, the reason I want them to take the camera, one, it's a safety net. They'll have video evidence, which the rogue team could simply take at any moment. At any moment.
Take the tape, sure.
Two, it proves, if they agree, if the rogue team agrees to take the cameraman, it proves they're flexible and the Ames team has value to them, and that's good for negotiating. Now, what Buck doesn't say is that he doesn't know if they are negotiating. If they are negotiating, he certainly doesn't know what they're negotiating for. But the rogue team agrees to take the cameraman, so it's checkmate. And hopefully, we're playing chess.
But Jeff has a move. He has a card left to play as they're being put into the van.
Wait, can we pause? Let the audience. What does Jeff do?
See if they can guess.
All right, go ahead.
So the kidnapper says, "This guy pissed himself." And an amazing moment happens where Jeff says, "Well, you scared me, man." And the guy says, "Yeah, right." I know this is a fetish.
Yeah.
I know you did not. No one pees themselves this often out of fear. You are rock hard right now. This is a thing. This is a thing with you.
Well, I asked you before we did this scene, you're not going to piss yourself, are you? Because that's not in my contract. I don't want to touch it. If I touch it, I walk. Like I promise I won't hurt you. I won't touch you. If you turn around covered in piss, I'm leaving. And Jeff turns around, and the way he says, "You scared me, man," he does not deliver that in a frightened tone. It's real smug. He's like, "Well, you scared me, man." The guy's like, fuck you, buddy. Are you kidding me? So while this is all happening, they get zip tied, and Buck says, "Don't take it easy on Jeff. I know he got you involuntarily involved in his piss play fetish. Don't be too rough on him. He's got a bad shoulder. He's got to zip tie his arms in front." And they do. They zip tie his arms only in front. Zip tie their hands in Buck and Huckleberry's hands in back. They put bags on their heads and they drag them away to the van. I think it's Jeff, at the very least, starts fighting it. So he starts fighting with them, trying to no, this is too far. We got to get away. They shove them in there. And all this time, Wild Bill and Willie are in the tree line with their sniper rifles, watching it all happen. Waiting for that moment. Waiting for that perfect moment. And so they shove all the team in there and they close the doors. And Wild Bill and Willie are like, all right, ready to go. And then they get in the van. They're still ready. And then they start driving the van away. And then they continue driving the van away. And then Willie says, all right, let's go. And then they start running across the field, abandoning their sniper position to chase this rapidly departing van, which they do not catch.
Yeah, on foot from 3,000 feet away. After they're all loaded in the van with bags over the head, Buck gives an interview to camera saying, "So far, this meeting isn't working out how I thought it would."
And one of the fucking kidnappers grabs the camera, points it at his masked face, and gives a real sicko laugh, a little little Joker laugh like you would do in a Juggalo video. And they love that so much, they take that clip and they play it again over the ending scene, and they will play it again in future episodes.
It's a skull mask. They all have masks on. It's like a skull painted on them, like a Dayglow skull. So yeah, that's the episode. Exactly one thing happened. It took 3 minutes. The rest of the episode, they just kind of drove around for a while.
And then Willie and Wild Bill watched them get kidnapped, did absolutely nothing, and then only ran in to save them after giving a van a head start.
I wouldn't say the magic is gone. Something about this is still compelling, but it is so bad in ways that shouldn't be possible.
They keep inventing, like they've gotten so good at being terrible at something that they've gotten bored, like you and I would be bored at being really good at something. They have gotten bored with being masterfully terrible at things, and they're like, I have to find a new way, a new thing to be terrible at, and so we're doing like kind of spy thriller, horror spy thriller shit now, because we've never done that before, and we're not going to look up how to do it, and we're not going to watch any. I'm never going to watch one of them. We're just going to see if we can figure it out, and the answer, of course, is we can't, and we don't. But it's amazing that it's always something new. It's just they've shaken it up completely, and I fucking love it. I cannot wait to get to the next episode. But first, let's find our favorite quotes from this episode. Sean, how about you?
I'll let Jason go first, because I bet we picked the same one.
Oh, okay.
No, we haven't. It's mine is when Huckleberry, after they had the initial meeting at Trapper's house, and he's going out to meet with Buck, and he confesses that he's got his secret, and he's going behind Trapper's back to go meet with Buck, says, well, we'll probably get our ass chewed, but I guess that's why we monster hunt.
Okay, so Sean, what's yours?
Well, I did pick a different one, but it is also ass related. I nearly picked I'm really pissed off about being called a wood elf by Jeff. I thought that was good. But my quote comes from Wild Bill, where he says, I hope old Big Brass don't kill the old rear end too much.
Also, I like too much. He adds the too much. A little rear end. If you choose the old rear end a little bit. But too much. Too much is bad.
That's what he's worried Trapper is going to get mad at him for going behind his back to get the rogue team, which Trapper did want them to do.
I swear we didn't plan it this way. We're just all juvenile in the same way. Mine's also about asses.
What?
It's after they've called Jeff a wood elf several times, and he is telling the boys how upset he is. He says, "Man, that guy called me a wood elf. It really just gets in my ass."